Hi guys, welcome to week 8. This week starts off a brand new unit. We are done with our audience purpose tone unit, although of course, as you've probably learned from studying this unit, audience purpose tone is really in everything. It'll be, not necessarily something you have to analyze for the next essay, but it will be something that you're thinking about for your next essay, just in terms of your own audience, your purpose for writing, and the tone that you'll select based on those things. So you've turned in your essays by now, hopefully. If not, please get those submitted as soon as possible. Of course, you have that grace period of 24 hours, but then every day that your essay is late, it's minus 8 points. So just make sure that you're getting those essays turned in if you haven't done that already. I know it's a lot of work, but you guys can do it. Okay, so week 8, we start a new unit, and we are talking about digital culture and technology. I'm really interested in how technology affects us. I'm interested in social media. It's always been a fascination of mine. If anybody plans on going on and taking English 112 with me, you'll find that I have a unit on social media. I'm really interested in it, so that's kind of why I decided to go with this for our second essay. So I want to kind of, show you the new section in Blackboard. It's really just a matter of scrolling down. I want to basically just tell you that it's exactly the same as the last unit. It's just a different essay topic. So if we go into weekly lessons and assignments, and then we go to weeks 8 through 12, unit 2, I've put together the same thing that I had before with the learning timeline and due dates, where you'll see just a list of all of the lessons that you should study each week. Make sure that you understand the content and the concepts and things like that. The lessons are all housed here in this folder, and then you can find all of the assignments in the folder at the bottom of the page. So let's take a look at the learning timeline and due dates. I want to show you what I want you to learn this week. Argument, so learn up about argument, read up on that. Essay elements recap. This is going to cover a lot of the stuff that we already talked about: topic, sentence, thesis statements, things like that. Some of this stuff in this essay elements recap lesson, you'll probably find that you don't necessarily need to spend too much time reviewing because you remember it heavily. But if there's a concept that's challenging for you, I would definitely encourage you to review it as well. We'll also talk about supporting details, and we'll talk about refuting a claim. In this essay, for this unit, you get to make your own argument. So before, yes, you were making an argument because you were evaluating a text and picking which text was more effective, and based on the nature of that assignment, you're making an argument there. However, with this, you're actually, coming up with the idea on your own. It's not necessarily just an evaluation, it's an argument. So that's kind of why we're studying these lessons this week. At the end of this week, you will have a digital culture and technology discussion board, and I'm going to go over it in a second, but I definitely want you guys to start working on that discussion board as soon as possible. Now, most of your your track record for most of my students in this class is that you guys start it on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. If you can get to it a little bit earlier, that's going to be, I just think, so helpful for our discussion, because we're not really just looking at texts here, we're looking at ideas. Of course, there will be texts that play a part in this, because all of the writing that we have to do for this class is text-based, but your ideas are going to shine through. So definitely get started on this as soon as you can, as soon as you're able to. I know some of you like to start right away, and I appreciate that, and some of you have already started, and I also appreciate that. I will make a midweek discussion board video on Thursday going through all of your ideas. So if you can get your initial posts in by Thursday, then I'll be able to talk about the work that you're doing. So hopefully you will be able to do that. I do understand, it's an online class. Some of you can't do the work until the weekends, and I get that as well. Okay, so that's the stuff that you're looking at this week. Just know that the argument portion of, or the argument lesson, has a progress journal assignment, and so this unit is going to be structured exactly like our last unit. We're going to start with a discussion board, then we're going to have a response. We're going to in the middle of the unit have a progress journal. We'll have a peer review, and then we'll end with that final essay due at the end of the semester. So you're going to find the exact same structures you had before. So if you felt like maybe you were like thinking, I should have started the progress journal sooner, or I should have, started the response earlier, I should have read through all the requirements or whatever, the structure is exactly the same. So make sure that you make changes to your schedule, your study schedule, if you need to, if you found that there was something that would be more helpful for you. That's the learning timeline and due dates. I'm going to jump back to all of Unit 2. I think I meant to mention to you guys that your lesson on supporting details for this week contains extra credit, so keep an eye out for that. A lot of you have asked me about extra credit in order to make up for some missed points. I definitely want you to do as much extra credit as you can, so look into that with this lesson as well. Let's take a look at the specifics for the discussion board. Same structure here. Okay, so this week you'll be asked to participate in the discussion board. If you need to review the guidelines for successful online discussion, please review those here. Although I think we had a really great discussion last unit, so I'm confident that you guys read these guidelines, or I guess rules, and I'm confident that you'll do your best again. I also want you to read through the final essay for this unit. I'm just going to quickly go through the prompt so you guys know the topic here, because in this instance, there's a number of prompts that you can choose from. So what we have is essentially an argumentative essay where you have to include, it's sort of like research, but I've already provided the research for you. And you can use up to 2 additional outside sources if you choose, but you should cite those appropriately. Okay, so you have a lot to choose from, and you can even create your own argument. And here are some ideas. Is technology making us less intelligent? In crafting your argument, you may find some ways that technology dumbs us down, but you might also find that in some ways technology makes us smarter. But I want you to pick a side. So do you think that technology makes us less intelligent, or does it help us? Another prompt you could pick from, and so again, these are options. You do not have to address everything in your essay. In fact, you shouldn't. And again, these are essay options for the final essay, but this is going to give you an idea of kind of what we're talking about this unit. Make the argument that we could not live without technology. Why does technology control our lives, or why do we absolutely need to have it in our lives? Another option, consider all the ways in which technology negatively affects us. Out of those, which effect is the worst? That's your argument there. Why is it worse than some of the other negative effects? You could probably think about mental effects, emotional effects, physical effects. How about another prompt? Do humans rely too much on technology? This is a really interesting question that I contemplate a lot. Is technology more harmful than helpful, or vice versa? Is it more helpful than harmful? Additionally, and finally, you could also craft your own argument that's separate from these 5 suggested here. And if you're having trouble coming up with something, maybe you don't want to talk about these 5, you want to talk about something else, definitely email me and we can talk about some ideas. But just to remind you, you absolutely have to use 3 of the 4 required readings in your essay. So as you're working through all of the stuff for this unit, keep that in mind. I don't want anyone to be confused. Okay, so essentially we are writing about technology and we're making an argument about digital culture and technology. And technology can include so many things, and we're going to talk a little bit about that hopefully in our discussion this week. So read through this in a little bit more detail just to make sure you fully understand where we're headed for the end of this unit. And then when you're ready, go ahead and get started on the discussion board. So hopefully you'll pay attention here. I am really specifically going to talk about the prompt. You already all know how to create a discussion board, so you can read through these helpful tutorials if you need to, but I think you guys are good to go. This is due Sunday, April 8th by 11:59 p.m. Of course, you'll have a grace period, and then after that, -4 points per day late. All right, I'm going to read through the prompt, and then I'm just going to pause if I need to. Consider your own ideas and beliefs about digital culture and technology. Then begin the discussion board using the instructions. Choose 3 forum thread topics. So you'll see those topics once you open up the discussion board, and I'm going to open it up in a new window so that I can toggle back and forth. So this says choose 3 forum thread topics to participate in. You can, of course, participate in more than 3. However, you must participate in at least 3. So here are the forum thread topics. What piece of technology would you give up? Does technology threaten our safety and security? How does technology affect us? What would our world look like without technology? Is technology making us less intelligent? And of course, not included in one of the 3, but also you do have an extra credit opportunity here as well. Okay, so pick 3 of these to participate in. Once you're ready to participate, if anybody else, your classmates, have already responded to this, please make sure that you read through all of their posts so that we don't have anything necessarily repetitive, that we can have a thorough discussion without too much mimicking. In the forum threads that you've chosen, respond to each title question with a 5 to 8 sentence paragraph relaying your ideas on that subject. Okay, so for example, what piece of technology would you give up? Spend about 5 to 8 sentences explaining, what would you give up and why? Could you give up your cell phone? Could you give up your laptop or your, Netflix or whatever? What could you give up, and talk a little bit about that. Finally, read through your classmates' ideas later on in the week and reply at least 4 times with 3 to 5 sentences, advancing, countering, or refuting your classmates' ideas. A lot of these ideas are based on your own opinions, and so really it's just having an open discussion about our opinions about what we're thinking about technology and digital culture. If there's something you disagree with, just make sure that you keep that etiquette policy in mind. So in sum, you should have 3 of your own original posts and then 4 replies. So make sure you have a total of 7. You're posting 7 separate times. Everything is graded how you're familiar with. This is a 50-point assignment. Each original post is worth 10 points, and each reply is worth 5 points. Okay, so when you guys are ready, go ahead and jump into the discussion board and talk a little bit about your ideas. You don't have to start reading those texts yet for your essay, but if you have extra time this week, it can't hurt to get started early. I think you'll see for the progress journal that you do have to, for that brainstorm, read some of those texts. All right, y'all, I think this covers everything that I wanted to talk about. You turned in your audience purpose tone essays already. It usually takes me about 2 weeks to get those essays graded, so be on the lookout for those in a couple weeks. I probably won't even be able to start grading them until this weekend. So don't look for your grades any earlier than that because you won't find them. If you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to email me. I'm always happy to go over anything that you have questions about. I hope you have a good week, and I look forward to reading through all of your posts and replies in the discussion board. Bye, guys.